we may not have full house today. Lots of people traveling, some of us not doing so well, like Luis and Livia today. So November the 19th. So, and as we say the prayer today, so let's keep our friends in our mind. And
you keep the friends in your mind because you know who they are. Let me read it because I don't know who they are, but I can read very well.
Yes, please.
Okay. Protection for us and our group and others in need. Dear mentors of each one of us, may our study today always be filled with peace, growth, and love. May your wonderful blessings shower upon the whole world and grant each one of us bright, healthy, charitable, and peaceful days to come. Master Jesus, please make our journey a happy one, not by shielding us from sorrow and pain, but by giving us strength to bear it when it comes. Shine your light in us, through us, and over us. Protect us, each member of this group, our family members and friends, from any undesirable influence. We ask for your guide and protection for our lives and for the life of our family and friends. Set your way before us, Jesus. May we make a difference in this world for your glory and purposes. And so be it.
And so be it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Giles. So we finished. Yay, we finished this. This is done. And it was such a wonderful time. We had Maria came over, and she is the head. I do not know if you guys know, but Maria, she is the head of this publishing company called Editora do Fo. So Maria is an editor, and she's responsible for publishing several books in Brazil, and mainly spiritualistic type of books. And I was very happy because she brought, several books with her, and then evidently I had to take Maria to
Anna.
And as an engineer, I love this picture, but this, when she saw this, the rocket, Saturn fifth, I guess, rocket, she was like so amazed. And we had a chance to visit this Artemis project. That's going to be the first female crew going to the moon. Is going to be 100% female crew. So it's a wonderful achievement for the women. So we were very happy and proud about visiting and knowing about Artemis project. But this is very dear to my heart, this project going to Mars. So just because, as an engineer, I can help but, being so drawn to the challenge. And Maria, she was happy as happy she can be, and just visiting everything. So like I said, we had several books. She brought us so many books and very nice ones. I saw them all. Unfortunately, they are not in English, but we'll be working. Mauricio had a wonderful, how can I say, offer to Maria, and he will partner with Maria, and he will try to translate some of this into English. So thank you, Mauricio, for that. Mauricio, he is an engineer as well. See, Giles, not only me. I am not the only crazy engineer. We have others. And so Mauricio, he volunteered to translate some of those books, and I believe it's going to be a great partnership. And evidently, we had a wonderful time. Gloria was here, Debbie, and we had Eugene also. And it was really nice, you know, at the house. Gloria was saying that we had a Brazilian food coma because we were eating all the time. But the reality is we had a wonderful, wonderful time. And when Gloria met with my little dog Peanut, it was like soulmates. They were so happy, you know, about meeting each other. And evidently I could see that Gloria was kind of providing some, or trying to bribe Peanut, because every once in a while she was, you know, giving some food to Peanut behind underneath the table, and it was really funny. Debbie was here, and her husband joined us on the last day, and it was such a wonderful experience. Josie as well. Oh, by the way, Josie is traveling to Brazil. That's why she and team, they are not here today. But it was very nice. During that meeting, Maria, she, not she, but her spiritual guide sent some letters, and one of them to Graça and Mauricio, the other one to Gloria, and the third letter was a message from Allan, their son, to Debbie and Jose. So those letters, they are in Portuguese. I will translate them, and I will type them in Portuguese. I will translate them, and then I will send those in English to this recipient. But the thing is, we shared a lot of material during those 3 days. I will upload those on a Google Drive. So if anyone is interested in taking a look at the materials that we shared during those 3 days, those will be available. Just let me know, and I can share via email. And yeah, so this is a picture of the group that we had over here together. We even had my new family member right here. I did not know how he made it to be in the middle of the picture. I just noticed once I was putting this picture over here together. So this is Jose, Debbie's husband, Josie, Mauricio, Graça. They are my friend from the Spirit Center here in Houston, Maria, Eugene. So wonderful time. It was such a wonderful weekend we have together. Again, pictures of the books from Dufo Publishing Company. I also wanted to show you, this is like a brochure from Dufo Publishing Company, and all the books that Maria has available. Some of them I didn't even know, or didn't have met Maria before, and I bought those not knowing that I would met her years later. So wonderful books. And she will be working on translating some of those into English and also Spanish. And evidently, most of those, they are like spiritual books, meaning it was dictated by a spirit, and a medium actually wrote them. And I have to say special thanks to Josie. I have to say special thanks to Maria. And guys, I cannot stress enough the help that you guys gave me, all the motivation that you guys gave me. I can only refer to this verse. Is actually a very known song in Brazil that says that a friend is something to shelter underneath 7 keys on the left side of one's chest, even when the time and distance say no, even after forgetting the song. What matters most is to listen to the voice coming from the heart. So be whatever it will be, come whatever it comes. One of those days, my friends, I will meet you. One of those days, we will be together. So that being said,
Anna,
yes.
go back to that picture, the previous picture. How long ago was that taken? You look like you're about 23 there. You're younger than you're a year younger than your oldest son.
Yeah, no, it was this past weekend. I wish.
Oh, you just have wonderful genetics. I mean, look, everybody else, the girls are going to grind their teeth because you look so good. How can you look like you're 25?
I wish, Giles, I wish.
Oh dear, I don't want to be 25 again. Once is enough to go through all that.
Yeah. So with that, Maria was talking about perhaps having another encounter maybe in May 2023, and I must say that I'm really hoping to have that, because it was such a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful time we had together. So possibly we will schedule something for May, and then just continue working as we did. The next is that I would like to share with you. We have this lecture coming on December the 10th. I had a chance to see Dr. Décio Iandoli Jr. A couple times, and sometimes I watched some of his videos on YouTube. He is a physician, but what is in Brazil? But what is most interesting about Dr. Décio is he is a spiritist, and he was born in a spiritist family. Today, he is the head of this medical spiritist association that we have in every single state in Brazil. So every state, the doctors, the spiritist doctors, they hold this association or this institute where they meet, they discuss several things, not only about medicine, but also about spiritism and medicine. And so Dr. Décio Iandoli, he is the head of that institute in his state. So he will be talking to us about reincarnation, presenting reincarnation as biological law. And also he will not only show some of the evidences from other folks like Dr. Ian Stevenson, but also some of evidences that he got from his own researches. So wonderful lecture. Dr. Dacio Iandoli, he doesn't speak English enough to hold the lecture in English, but what we are doing, we are recording this video. He sent me a video with his lecture to us. So we are working on translating that. So that will be an audio in English. So we will watch the video, and after that video, then there will be a Q&A session. And for that session, then that will be me or Luis translating into English what he says and translating into Portuguese whatever question we might have. So it's going to be December the 10th. So the other thing that I would like to call attention, the last meeting for this year is going to be December 17th. And then that will be a vacation period. So we'll be back on January the 21st. Okay, just so you guys know. And with that, so let's go to the Spiritist books. Last time that we were talking about this book, we were covering Law of Destruction, and the subject was murder, and the last question was question 747. Are all murders equally evil? And the answer was, God is fair. God judges the intention rather than just the deed. So with that, let me, where it is? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I would like to make a comment on that. Humans killing each other. The example that springs to mind, which I hope in heaven that I have never had in any of my reincarnations, is when your best friend is on a battlefield and receives a wound that you know is mortal, and there is nothing you can do about it. Now, if you walk away, you leave him to die in horrible circumstances, and he may or may not say, "Please kill me." But then you kill him deliberately, because what you're doing is you're doing him a favor. You don't like it because it's your best friend, but you're putting him out of what you know is going to be days of pain and suffering. And that is if the enemy doesn't get to him first and make it even worse. Then there is an example of a murder which is positive. It's done with good intention and the right way round. No doubt we can all think of different possibilities of murder, such as in hospitals when doctors know a patient is terminal and they want to, and I remember a friend of mine, the doctor visited one day and said, I will be leaving these heroin pills beside you for the pain. Now, make sure you do not take more than 2, because if you take more than 2, you will die. And his wife was standing there listening, and everybody knew what he meant.
Yes.
And he left. And of course, my friend took 4 of them and didn't wake up the next morning. Now, there's another example of this is wonderful intention. But causing a death. So I'm sure the examples go on and on. So, okay,
Yeah.
Giles, shut up.
It's very critical type of or polemic. I do not know how to say, but it's very complex type of topic. Let me tell you why I think it's so difficult, because one day I was talking to a friend of mine. He is 80, I guess he's 85 now, 85 years old, Spiritist, and he knows he was born in a Spiritist family. He's a medium, and and one day we were talking about what do you do if your dog was suffering out of cancer or something? Because somebody, a friend of us, asked him that question, what he thought about putting a dog or an animal or pet to sleep, because that pet cannot handle, is not going to recover and just in pain. And then the way that he answered that question was, he said, yes, evidently everyone will do according to what your heart and your intentions and your consciousness is telling you to do. But he said, I just wonder if I think, not about the dog, but if I think about a son of mine living in the same situation, I'll not put my son to sleep. And then I said, oh, I never thought about that. So, and I'm not judging anyone, because I did put a dog to sleep twice, not only once, but twice. But today, to be honest with you, I really do not know the answer to the question. Evidently, I don't want to see someone in pain. I don't want to see a beloved one in pain. But I'm still thinking about it. What is the best thing to do? But I agree with you that, Giles, the intention is everything. I mean, oh no, we were on 748, and I guess this is too small, isn't it? So 748, let me do this. Does God excuse murder in legitimate cases of self-defense? Giles, I guess you kind of, what do you have in your version? Your book. You're on mute.
I don't have my version up, but I will have.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. Spirit's book. Got it. Number 745. What number are we?
48.
748. 748. Does God excuse murder in cases of self-defense?
Okay, so you have the same.
Only absolute necessity can excuse it. But if a man can only preserve his life by taking that of an aggressor, he ought to do so.
Okay.
So there's another case for excusable murder, that although you won't have a long time to think about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, I had a story where we were having a party in a discotheque in the south of Spain, and a number of the locals took against a tall white Englishman, being me. And one of them had a matador sword. That's the one with the little cross piece at the end of it. And for some reason, he decided that I was going to go, and he put that sword out to my chest, right on my solar plexus, without the sheath, of course, and said, now what? So I leaned slightly forward and said, well, I was speaking Spanish, because I do speak Spanish. And so we stood like that for a moment or two with the audience falling quiet around us. And of course, he pulled it away and walked off and ran off into the outside. So that was the end of that one. But then nothing like a few beers inside one to give one false courage. So would that have been self-defense if I had whipped out a pistol and shot him between the eyes? Not really.
Yeah. So any other comment from the group?
Anna,
Yes.
I forgot to hands up. Sorry, me, please. I think that is very important to pay attention when the answer is calling about when a people is constrained by force. They are in the warm or they are in the another circumstance that they need to fight for your life.
Mhm.
And another point of view is that it's necessary to take into account the feeling of humanity,
Yeah.
humanity with which everybody proceed in this situation. Because you can't fight if you are by force, but we never can lost our humanity with the another people. I think that it's very important in this question.
When you say humanity, are you talking about compassion or?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember one day somebody was asking me if I was capable of killing somebody else, and I said no, and then I thought twice and I said yes. And that I said yes because then I thought about the scenario. For example, if I saw someone attacking my son, I would not think, any of my sons. I would not think twice. I do not know if what I would do if my intention was would be killing that person. Maybe not. My intention is really defend my,
Okay, yes, I understand.
So
I think that all of parents, brothers and sisters and friends will do what you said.
yeah, I mean, I can't help but it's part of our duty to protect the life that was, how can I say, put under our responsibility, right?
If you do without want to do damage, if you are protecting, the situation can be amenizada. How I can say it in English? Amenizada.
Mitigated.
Mitigating, yes. But I think that the responsibility for our actions, since the people pardon us, our conscience.
Consciousness.
Yes,
Consciousness.
consciousness probably won't.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you know that because out of what you've done, the person died. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me add at one point here, this is quite obvious that there is a enormous range of good intentions that can be right or wrong. And this is why we have the past life review afterwards, when we see through other people's eyes what we've done. And so we can discuss this till the cows come home, as they say, but it will not, it won't change the fact that there's an enormous range of these different situations. And I gave some two extreme examples, because then it's totally clear that it's a good move. But in many other cases, who knows what the right answer was? You do what seems right at the time, and then you find out later.
Exactly.
So it's a situation, as I've said before, one size does not fit all.
Yep.
And the minute you
Agree.
get fundamentalist religion involved, then all reason
Yeah.
goes out the window.
Yes. Yeah. I
So,
agree.
Allan, let me just make a point here and a
Please.
question. So this question 748, it asks, can it be excused in case of legitimate self-defense? And the answer is yes. Can we, I guess, interpret this, I guess the answer as being generic and that are cases that are not necessarily clear? I guess what I'm trying to get at is, yes, if I'm trying to defend myself, I should do it. Okay. Your example, Anna, is you're defending your children. So I guess the question is, can this answer be extrapolated, I guess, to different scenarios, different situations, and how to interpret it?
It's a good question, but in regards to this one, I can't recall which book. I do not recall if it's in this book, the Spirit's book, or the Gospel according to the Spiritism. Then the answer is there is a little bit more explanation, because the answer says that if you had a chance, or if you have your mind clear enough to think about what you're doing, the ideal is for you to impede the action or to avoid the tragedy, right? So to act to avoid the tragedy, but try not to kill the person who is attacking. So if I'm not mistaken, the question is about someone getting in your house, like breaking in, and then what do you do? And then the answer is, if you have to, yes, you can, shot that person, but try to avoid, that person to or impede the action of that person. By doing so, you not only avoid that person losing his or her life, but also you stop that person from doing a mistake, like, stealing a house or doing something that at the end of the day is going to be bad for him or her. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the Spirit says. They do not necessarily give us a free pass to start killing, but they say try to the intent is really to avoid the tragedy, to stop that person from doing what he or she was planning on doing, but not necessarily take that life, out. Giles is...
It's a very hard subject, I guess.
Yes, I'm laughing because, of course, we can think of 1,000 different examples.
Yeah.
And the range of the intention and the sin, to use a religious word, committed by the killer is all the way from a good thing to a very bad thing, and the range is as wide as we can imagine. Thousands of different possibilities.
Yeah.
And again, that's why we have the afterlife review, so we can see exactly how we did. And one of the things is that occurs to me, because I was brought up in Ireland, is if you defend yourself from a drunk in a pub, in a drinking house in Ireland, and you defend yourself successfully, you don't have not killing anybody, just beating somebody to the ground who was coming at you with a broken bottle. I take that one. as an example. If
Mhm.
you're dumb enough to go back into that pub again the next day, that same guy will be back with 5 friends, and
Yes.
they'll all be trying to murder you. And if you beat them all down because you're Jet Li or somebody, well, then the next day you go back, there'll be 18 of them.
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
you'll start a civil war if you're if you're
Yeah, but going back to your previous example, Giles, right?
Giles.
Giles, in the case of the guy with the sword in the bar and he pointed at in your chest, and then he backed off, and he was drunk, he was not going to do anything. What if you had a gun on you and you decided to take action? Because you didn't take action because you are not capable, right? So you just stood. So
correct.
it's very hard.
I wasn't going to run away. I leaned into it, but that was because I had a few drinks too. And what he was taking advantage of or upset about was racism. He didn't like a tall English person who spoke Spanish, and that was annoying him. And he and his friends were encouraging him to do something since he had the sword. So that would have been but we can talk about this all day. I mean, what is the situation where it's right and wrong? Well, it varies is the answer. And so we might as well just go with that answer. It varies. And
Yeah.
it depends, what were you doing there in the first place? And that's something also that I learned in pubs in Ireland. What am I doing here? And I would smell the atmosphere and say, this ain't looking good. And I would get out
Yeah.
and go.
Exactly.
And I would never know whether I avoided something or not, because I might have been the cause of it.
Exactly.
And so by me leaving, the situation was terminated. But other times I did hear, oh yeah, you missed a really good one there. 10 guys in the hospital and everybody be smashing up the bar. And I said, yeah, well, and I left before it happened. And that occurred altogether quite frequently when one would smell the situation changing in the air and say, time to go.
You gotta make sure you don't walk into the wrong pub with the wrong jersey.
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, in short, we used to send somebody into the bar to buy a box of matches. And because we were mainly English students in Ireland, and the Irish do not like the English. And you would send somebody into the bar to buy a box of matches, and they would sniff the air. I know you can't imagine this in the rest of the countries you're in, because it's not a situation that you're familiar with. And so the person would go in, buy a box of matches, pay 2pence or whatever it was at the time, and then come out and say, yeah, it looks okay. Then we could go back in and have a drink. If not, they'd say, well, there's another one down the road. Let's try that. So one size does not fit all. And then there are enormous variations in these things.
Yeah.
And we must forget the movies and think about real life. What's the atmosphere like?
Yep.
And no, I don't want to join any army and do the right thing somewhere. I would hate to be in Ukraine right now and be feel forced to join the army as a 25-year-old and go out and shoot perfectly innocent Russians because they had a lunatic director. That's
Exactly.
Oh, I'm so happy not to be in that situation.
Yeah, it's really sad situation to be in.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've been a slave in a galley way back when, and I was rowing on the top tier in the back right of the galley. And that was quite a good position to be in, because you were on the top tier, not on the one beneath, where you would receive the droppings of those above you. And oh dear. And then I must have died walking back from Moscow one time or other, because every time I put my hand in the fridge in the icebox, I think, oh, I don't need this temperature.
I had that experience too, Giles. I do not know which row I was, but I was in one of those.
You were rowing. Yeah.
I was rowing. Yeah.
Quite a lot of us were rowing
And
together, I think.
And the boat was hit and started sinking, and I was still there.
Yeah, you were chained and you had no choice. Down you went.
It was, yeah.
Oh
Anyway,
dear.
7:49. That was in the past. So I'd rather to be here today in rainy Houston. 7:49. Are people accountable for the murders they commit during times of war? Look at that. Giles, you were reading the question ahead of time.
I was just talking about the subject generally. I promise you I wasn't reading it.
So
7:49, right?
yeah, please read your version and let's see how different it is.
Okay, it says, is a man answerable for the murders he commits in war?
Okay, so
Answer, not when he is compelled to fight, but he is answerable for the cruelty he commits and will be rewarded for his humanity. There we go. One size does not fit all.
Exactly. There, as a matter of fact, there is a very interesting story about a song that the army in Brazil they play every time one of them die. And it's a very known song. I don't recall the title right now, but the thing is, it was a musician, a Brazilian musician. He was he went to the war. It was the Second World War, and then as he died, he had this song in his pocket. He was injured, and then he died, and he has this song in his pocket. And a German soldier found his body. And so his boss, or whatever, in the army, I do not know the hierarchy and how to say, but anyway, his boss, his leader said, just leave it there. Why bothering? This is a Brazilian, so it's part of the Allies, so they are enemies. But the soldier found the song, and then the soldier could read that song, and then he thought it was such a beautiful song, and he said, no, this is different. This soul is different. He deserves the respect, my respect. And then he dug. He opened. He dug, right, and he buried him. But that guy made the song to to be delivered to Brazilian army, and until today that song is a beautiful, beautiful song. So I think it's when they mentioned over here about mercy, immediately I recall that story, because I think it's part of it. Respect is also part of it. Any other comment before we go? I think it's very straightforward. 750, which is worse in God's eyes, parricide or infanticide? Oh, wow. It's parricide, right? The way that we say parricide?
No.
Parricide or infanticide?
Infanticide, in my view. But both are serious crimes. But infanticide, it is the child who is not physically able to defend himself.
Himself or herself, yeah.
Yes, faced with the use of brute force. Brute force, yes. Only the law of cause e efeito.
A cause and consequence.
Yes, subjects the spirit to such a severe test. Severe, no.
Oh, I see. So for a kid being murdered,
Severe, yes.
for a kid,
Only when the spirit needs to passar,
to live that experience.
Yes.
I see.
the spirit can't get out of it.
Oh, I see.
But ever have a law, causa e efeito, desculpa.
Cause and consequence.
Yes, behind it.
Mm. Yeah, there's terrible stories in Brazil. I can remember, and the answer says that those are equally horrific because any crime is a crime. But I can't help but thinking like you, Maria, like infanticide is something really terrible because of the same reason. They cannot. I mean, a child cannot defend himself or herself, right? So it's terrible.
Ana, God would not be justo
Just
if he leave it, okay, leave it, entre aspas, the people suffering this kind of violence.
Oh, I see. So God would not be just if he just allowed people
Yes, yes,
passing through this kind of violence without a reason.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's the cause and consequence law. Yeah, that's the only explanation. Otherwise, it would be really horrific thing. 751, how can infanticide exist in intellectually advanced nations and even be allowed by their laws? Allowed? Who allowed such a law of infanticide? Oh, it's talking about abortion, maybe.
No,
Yeah,
I
it's
think that
abortion.
in the beginning of human beings, we have many religions that adotam sacrifício. How can I say it in English?
Oh, but this is talking about
Alguns povos.
no, but it's not talking about sacrifices.
No?
No, please. Human history has got plenty of examples of amazing nastiness and inhumanity. And if, for example, a black girl were to have a child with a white man, the white man who owns the plantation would go and kill the child.
Oh, we lost Giles. We lost him.
Yeah, I think there were cases in the past too where, for example, if a child was born in a family, the child had some sort of a birth defect.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Like some animals do. We used to in the past.
And China. Let's not forget about China, right?
Oh, yes.
Like the second kid,
son.
yeah, the second offspring was not allowed to. Yeah, it's terrible. So the answer is intellectual development is not always accompanied, I don't know, by moral integrity. A superior spirit may advance in intelligence and remain wicked. This is what happens when a spirit lives for a long time without improving. Yeah, moral integrity is everything. And compassion. That's what Luis says all the time. Doesn't matter how many, we might evolve intellectually, and do amazing things, but without compassion, without this Christic mentality, we are not really doing much or evolving much. So the next topic is cruelty. Oh, we lost Giles. He didn't pay the bill, the internet bill, I guess. He was having issues. So for cruelty, is cruelty linked to the instinct of destruction? Any thoughts on this? Is cruelty linked to the instinct of destruction?
And we can think that the both of them is equal.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we find the destruction by nature and by the time and the wind is different when we find destruction by human beings' hands.
Yeah. The answer said, okay, Una, please. You've been really quiet, just Merlin showing up today.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not feeling great either. Cruelty and destruction, I think probably the crueler you are, probably when you go back to the other side, the more you're going to have to, the more karma you're going to have to take in another incarnation and that kind of thing to balance that out. I mean, destruction is one thing, but cruelty kind of adds another layer to it and kind of adds maybe a certain kind of, maybe
That's
linked
a-
to power
yeah.
or pleasure or something like that.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's probably more karma to be cleared if you go down that path. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like maybe, you know, the wanton destruction or the cruelty of like some of the prisoner of war camps, or, you know, anything you want to think about.
Yeah, agree. Have you ever watched that movie, What Dream May Come? Do you remember, with Robin
I'm not
Williams?
sure. No, I don't think I've seen it. Don't think so.
Guys, look for it on YouTube. It's no longer available on Netflix or something like this, but look for it on YouTube. What Dream May Come. That movie, let me look over here. Let's see. What Dream May Come. Yeah, this one. It's a 1998 movie. Let me. You see it? You see this?
Yes.
Yeah. So what dreams may come is a story of this physician. He is married to an artist, and they have 2 kids. And one day, the 2 kids that go into the school, the car the kids are in, there was a car accident, and the kids, they died in that accident, the 2 kids. And then the wife, his wife, got depressed, terribly ill, and but eventually he was helping her. She kind of recovered, and she was trying to get back to her life. And when one day, again, in a car accident, he died. And then the movie is from his perspective. Okay, so, and then as he transitioned to the spiritual world, And I will not tell the story, but all the experiences and the situation and places that he goes in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual dimension, is so graphic and so powerful. I know that the director of this movie read the Spiritist book 3 times, and also he read the Hell from Dante. Do you know that? And again, that Hell from Dante is also a book that is considered a spiritualistic book, because what he is describing is actually what he saw in a astral projection. His guide, the spiritual guide, took him to the lower realms so he could describe exactly how the lower realms look like. And that movie tried to show in a very graphic way, but it's very well done. It's a very good job they do. And exactly when Una was talking about the karma, you will see, depending on, how about the seriousness of your karma, or how guilty you feel or not, then you will see exactly the places those guys, those spirits, they go. So if you have a chance to watch this movie in the this weekend, I highly recommend. It's a very good one. What Dreams May Come. So welcome back, Giles. So the question was, is cruelty linked to the instinct of destruction? And then the answer is, it is the instinct of destruction in its worst form. Because while destruction is sometimes necessary, cruelty never is. Exactly like what Una was saying. It is always the result of a wicked nature. And I think it's very clear answer here. And 753, why is cruelty the dominant characteristic of primitive humans?
Oh boy.
Answer, yeah. Oh, okay. Una, please.
I guess it comes back to what Giles would always say, experience, and younger souls haven't really learned a whole lot yet, so they make mistakes. I presume that's what you'd say.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that we don't always ascribe the word primitive to the right peoples. There are, of course, as many different primitive so-called races as we care to count, and many of them had good manners and good behavior, and among them were wise men and shamans who saw things and knew things. And so again, it's not an easy answer, but here in general, we're talking about 1850. And in 1850, France had its dominions around the world, as did England and Portugal and the Dutch too. And so anybody that wasn't Portuguese or Dutch or English was primitive. I don't know what they said about the Chinese, and which is just amazing. But anyway, all right, I'll shut up. I talk too much. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah,
Oh
we're not judging. Thank you, Giles. Maria, please.
I think as primitive beings, we are at the beginning of spiritual childhood.
Childhood.
Yes. We are a little kids who go there, take the other person's toy, a child toy or candy, and think that we are right. Okay? If you see a children take a candy or a toy of another one, the kid will do it and don't worry about. Okay? The primitive beings are in the same situation when we are talking about society and to live with another ones. They do what they need to do and don't worry about.
I really like your comparison, comparing the primitive humans as small children in a kindergarten and fighting for the toy, fighting for a candy. Yeah, if they want it, they just go ahead and take it, right? I want it, so it's mine. I have the right to do it. But the only one thing is, I guess, there is a component that we need to keep in mind as we do this comparison, because the kids, they will do it not knowing better, right? They have not they have no education. If nobody says anything, they will just do it. So it's up to the parents to educate that that small child. Now, talking about adults, then when we do that, I guess it has that act of being cruel. It has a little bit of selfishness. When you believe that you truly have the right to take someone else's life, or taking someone else's right to live, just because you don't like or because it's not convenient to you, then that cruelty will have also, in my understanding, an element of selfishness. So you just think about your own world. You do not think about the consequences. You do not think about, okay, so the other person has the same right to live as you do. So the answer, any other comment from the group? No. So the answer is, among primitive peoples, as you call them, matter overpowers the spirit. They surrender to their animal instincts, and as they only care about their physical lives, they think only of self-preservation. This normally makes them cruel. In addition, people whose development is still imperfect are under the influence of imperfect spirits with whom they attune, until more advanced people arrive and destroy or weaken that influence. So when I read this, I recall this day when the Hurricane Ike was about to strike Houston. And we were doing some preparations, and I remember I was in the office when we were told to go back home and start doing preparations to evacuate the area. So on my way to my house, I stopped by the grocery store, and I thought about, okay, so perhaps I think I have some food, etc. Perhaps the most important item for me is water. So I will stop by and get some, a gallon or two of water, just enough for, for us to evacuate, just in case. So, and I did that. And as soon as I got into the grocery store, I have my cart with me, and then I heard two carts running or coming behind me. And as I was getting closer to the aisle where the water was, those carts, they were speeding faster and faster. And then these two ladies, they passed by me, and they arrived at the same time, to the aisle where the water was, and then they start fighting for the water. There was not too many, but they were fighting over the whatever amount we had. And then I cannot believe I'm watching this. I was so impressed. And then I thought to myself, okay, so my family, I got over here, I consider myself a civilized person, but there's no situation that will make me go lower and fight for the water. I know my family needs some water, but that's okay. We can run thirsty, a day or two, but I will not step down on my civilization and fight over a gallon or two of water just because, it's beyond my comprehension. Thank you. Mauricio, please, or Graça.
Yeah. The question is actually from her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this primitive humans, they have a dominant cruelty, but maybe they're not necessarily bad. It's just that they are
Correct.
very ignorant.
Is ignorance. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Part of that is ignorance. Yeah.
yeah, what I want to mention too, okay, this is very clear, the question correctly, but I was thinking here while you were talking about, I would say, modern day cruelty. People who have evolved intellectually, but they are still cruel, not physically cruel to hurt somebody, but to be cruel in other ways of, treating somebody badly, or like an employee, or
Killing someone's dreams, or
stabbing in the
taking
back,
house.
those kind of things.
Mhm.
So it's a different type of cruelty, and it still exists even now that we are no longer primitive.
Yes, that's true. That's a very very, very interesting point. We are not primitive, say, from intellectual standpoint, but if you do not hold what we mentioned, law of compassion, or then you just evolved intellectually, not really as a human being, or evolve. I would say those are the people who lives. Those are the people that lives as the matter is dominant. This physical world is dominant. So they do not think about the spiritual perspective. They do not think about the consequence of this to their spiritual life, right? Thank you. Una, please.
I
Thank you,
would take
Marisa.
primitive human to mean primitive in the soul sense, rather than primitive in the societal sense, as in, a society that's maybe a couple of thousand years ago or something like that, because some of those societies didn't operate the way that our society operates currently, and possibly operated with higher moral values in some cases, or with certainly maybe more consciousness or more community. So for me, I'm interpreting primitive human as primitive in terms of soul development.
I
consciousness.
love this. Yes, I love this.
I quite
That's
agree. Una, you've hit the nail on the head.
exactly. Yeah.
If you've only had 1,000 lifetimes,
Mm.
then you are clearly a primitive human. By the time you've had 20,000 lifetimes, now we're getting somewhere.
Now you get exactly.
And I like to think that all of us here are at least halfway through our lifetimes, as measured by an Indian master who said you need 1,000,000 years incarnated as a human. And that is if you don't do anything either to delay it or to speed it up.
Mhm.
And that's what he said. And that way, to me, works out to be 50,000 lifetimes. And all of us here must be halfway through, or hopefully more, to be able to pay attention to spirit. Because primitive humans, now I'm talking in Una's description, which is right, are people that have not had enough lifetimes to understand empathy and spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I loved what Una said. As a matter of fact, Una, what you said, I'm gonna, next time that we meet next Saturday, I will bring this topic, talking about the evolution of the soul, and how the spirits, how they describe, what is a primitive soul, what is someone a little bit more evolved, and a higher being, etc. So it's very interesting, and it's all about how attached you are to the matter. It's all about how matter guides your life, and it's always between the matter and or physical plane and the spiritual plane. So it's kind of
That would be
guided
really
by
interesting.
that.
Anna.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
Thank
really
you.
cool.
thank you. Maria, you have your hand
Yes.
raised.
Yes. About our spirituality, we are still spiritual children. We are going to be in our spiritual adolescence. How I can say it in English?
Teenager.
Yes, a spiritual teenager in the Earth regeneration period.
Period. Yeah, period.
Period. Oh. As the pain regeneration implants itself in the earth, we will focus more on the good, to do the good, and on our personal maturação, nosso amadurecimento. Vamos focar mais no nosso amadurecimento espiritual, mas ainda somos crianças.
Yeah, so she's saying that we are still children, so our task is really to focus more on our spiritual development or growth. And yeah, I totally agree. I will bring some slides on this, on the spiritual evolution, and it's very interesting to see. As a matter of fact, I shared this past weekend with the folks over here in the house. But again, it's not something like black and white, because as we do evolve, then there is always like, yes, I cannot kill somebody today, but like I said, if someone is attacking my children, then I'll still do it. So things like this, like or like Mauricio was saying, we do not kill someone today, but we take somebody else's hope, or we stab somebody else in the back in our office, things like this. So is a very gradual evolution. Yeah, it's a very gradual evolution path, if you will. So it's not really.
It's Anna's turn.
very-
We can't see her hand is up because she.
Oh, Annie is. Yes. Please go ahead, Annie.
Just, I don't really have anything to add. Una, that was excellent what you said. Anna, you just said something about next week. Did you not cancel next week because it's Thanksgiving in the United States? Or are we?
We did. No, forget about. Yeah.
Okay.
Next meeting. Next
Let's
meeting.
stay here in Brazil, Anna.
No, it's the holiday. We do not have meeting on a holiday. Yeah, we canceled. Thank you. Yeah, but next meeting. Yeah. Maria, please.
Anna, you don't believe, but I forgot what I have to say. Excuse me, please.
That's okay. But okay, so I will stop sharing and I will stop